Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. And this is part two of the ABT Grand Final for 2025. This is basically the winner's report with Mark Crompton. It's about an hour long. It's an absolutely cracking interview. Some good insights into, if you listen closely, into some of the mindset with Mark that it takes to win, some of the techniques that he had to use, including some super slow fishing, as well as a new product that may or may not have helped. I'm not going to do any more talking about this one. I'm just going to roll the intros and go straight into the discussion with Mark. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. And thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target brim on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite brim competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here is your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
Okay, and finally, coming in first place, we have an angler dropping 5 fish at Marlo for 4.430, backing it up at Bemm River with another 5 fish with another 4 kilo bag of 4.010, and then bringing it home back at Marlo with another 5 kilo bag, so 5.355, giving him a total of a full limit, so 15 fish, 13.795, two-time Australian Grand Final winner, Mark Crompton. Welcome to the show, mate.
Cheers, mate. Great to be here.
I was going to say, mate, you've just about, I think you probably have won it all, but this was an extra special one, mate, to win it twice.
Yeah, it's nuts. Honestly, going down there had even said to my wife, I kind of feel like I'm making up numbers a little bit, but yeah, to come away with the win. I mean, you put the work in. I was going down there calm, relaxed. I wasn't stressing about anything. I was just able just to go fishing, and that's always when I fish at my best, when you're just calm, cool and collect, Everybody's the same. It was just a good set of circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a couple of things obviously happened that went your way. Like, oh, well, not so much went your way, but filling your limit, mate. Obviously, I think there was only maybe 2 or 3 that filled it. 2, I think you and Prikey, the only ones that filled a limit.
Yeah, I think, actually, Joel Mackenzie bagged out as well on day one.
Oh, no. I meant over the course of the 3 days.
Oh, right.
Yeah, over the course of the 3 days, just you and Stephen Pryke.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay.
So it's one of those interesting things with competitions is like, do you go for big fish? Do you go for a bag?
Yeah, I always go for my bags first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But I definitely had a 7-year gap to work out how to bag out there without it being readily available to me.
Mm.
I definitely had a bit of a mindset of how to locate fish on a ratio basis to try and work out where my best odds were to put my money. And, yeah, I guess that paid off.
Yeah. Paid off in a big way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Let's get into it. First of all, before we get into pre-fish day, what did you do leading into the competition to be ready for it?
Well, did the Vic Open.
Yeah, okay.
That's
It's good.
3 days of punishment to sort of shape yourself up, make sure all your gear's right, make sure everything's humming along all right. The weather for the Vic Open, especially on the pre-fish day, was atrocious. It was the first day I've ever had quiver of rods on the front of my deck blown off into the water.
Really?
Yeah, I've never had that before. And that was up the river too. That was up Nico. So
Wow, that's
hard
fun.
it was blowing. I've never experienced wind like that on the water, period. So,
Wow.
yeah, full on.
What happened with those rods, mate?
One of them is going back to Daiwa. The other 2 or 3, I managed to just catch them. The butts went in the water, but the one that I had one completely go under and I was diving for it basically. Right in, grab that one. But, yeah, that one didn't survive.
Yep. Oh, it happens.
But, yeah, so that was fishing through the pre-fish there. Didn't catch a fish on pre-fish. And it sort of shaped me back into fishing for black brim, which is kind of the reason I wanted to go and do the Vic Open. I've never fished down in Victoria in October.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never fished during the full spawn period for black bream, period. That's it. I've never done it. And I was expecting the worst, especially after pre-fish in the Nico. I didn't even get a touch. Could
Yeah.
see
Wow.
fish, and I could not get them to bite. I'd like to go back there now, but
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Fair enough.
but yeah, give me a good wake up. I need to really go back to the drawing board here and try and work this out. Luckily, during that event, I was able to work some completely different scenarios to what I thought I was going to be doing,
Sure.
and that worked, and that sort of shaped me up and gave me some good tactics going into Marlo. So,
Yeah.
and predominantly that was fishing larger soft plastics and slow and heavy at first, going down to light and slow.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much started with the Duros at the pre-fish at Marlo,
At Marlo. Yep.
and got there in the morning and just didn't go far. I was never going to go far. I was always going to just do the front banks, the front junction, just in front of the front island, basically at the Dunny Block.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
In front of the Fisherman's Club, and you just really suss that out. Really, previously when I have caught fish, this is like however many years ago it was when Jason won the grand final.
Oh yeah.
I had caught fish there, and I'd seen people catch really good fish there, and so I thought to myself, well, that zone seemed to have an influence on the system. And when I got there, the place was chock-a-block full of salmon.
Yeah.
And I'd sort of looked around, and previously going down there, I knew that, like I'd said, the brim spawn. So I'd done a little bit of looking into and remembering previously what happens during the brim spawn. Your pre-spawners downriver, post-spawners upriver sort of thing, and fish that'll sulk in deep sections moving up the river and slowly going to the edges to feed and whatnot. And I sort of thought to myself, I don't know that I want to try and fish either of those pre-spawn or post-spawn because they tend to be sulking a bit.
Mm.
And I sort of thought to myself, well, if there's fish down and up and they're transitioning between either, I thought it might be better to hedge my bet somewhere where they're traversing. So I sort of thought to sit down there and just wait for those fish that are going either upriver or downriver, because then they'll feed on the way.
Yeah.
And a little bit like what Mario did to us at the Clarence Penny a couple of years back when he won the boat, not thinking out too far outside of it and just breaking down one zone so that you don't know the place. You could just waste time otherwise. And
Yeah.
that worked. So, and I purposely put my money on that factor, thinking about that tournament that he won. I just thought, there's no point trying to reinvent the wheel here. I can get fish. Pre-fish gave me a couple of great fish in that zone.
Right.
And I just thought, well, that's me. That'll do.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't know it was going to be that tough, though, on day one. I didn't know, like, when I had my bag, I hadn't really been paying attention to anybody else, and people were sort of getting about, and it wasn't until the end of the day I bumped into Mario. I said, how'd you go, mate? He goes, oh, I've got 3 or something like that, 3 or 4. And he goes, how you going? I said, oh, I've got a bag. And he goes, really?
Yeah.
And I said, why? Have you spoken to many people? He goes, I've spoken to everyone. No one's got a bag. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Right.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shock that I'd sat where I sat after day one, to be brutally honest.
Yeah. In that time, so you sat, more or less in the one spot. How did you do it? Like, are you just live scoping them up or ActiveTarget?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big space. When I say I sat in the one spot, I was moving around it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until day 3 that I sort of really started to zone into them, and I could pole down and grind out in one particular section. But on day 1, I was just sort of plugging around it. There was another spot further down the river, down towards the mouth, that I'd caught and I caught an all right fish on that on day 1 too. But yeah, predominantly just sort of come back up, and I was fishing between Duros, smash baits, and what do you call the other one? The
And
hurricane.
hurricanes? Yeah.
But a couple of my good fish came on bloodworm grub on day 1.
Right.
So I wasn't cancelling that out. I was like, well, and that was when I'd sort of worked out the whole fishing underneath the salmon getting past the salmon. You could see them on the live scope. You could pick out the salmon moving quickly together. You could pick out the EPs moving around a little bit. Well, I didn't get too many EPs on day one, actually, truth be told. Caught bugger all. And then, I caught a few, but not as many as day 3. But yeah, you could see and you could pick the difference between the 3 fish, and that was really all that was there. Salmon, EPs and bream.
Yeah.
And if you paid attention to your sounder enough, you could actually pick out the difference after a few hours of staring at it. So then I was able to target the bream and try and just sulk it past you'd sort of see a school of salmon go past and then try and cast behind them where they've just been, but try not to move it so they not come back to it, and then get it to sink slow enough so then it'd go down to the bream and hope that an EP doesn't get it instead.
Right.
And it would have been easily EPs and salmon. I would have caught probably 12 to 15 EPs and salmon to one bream.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of time wasting. And the salmon, I just wasn't doing. I wasn't even trying it. Once I hooked them and jumped out of the water, I just break them off, retie up again. So you're going through a lot of gear.
Yeah, right.
But that was how I chose not to spook the fish too much, because if you were winding those all the way back to the boat, then the bream would shut down.
Yeah.
But if they just hooked you, did a long run, jumped, and you broke it off, then I found you weren't spooking the bream as much. They were okay with it.
Right. Okay. So, like you said, you're trying to sneak the gyros or the whatever it is down through the pack. What sort of weight jig heads and stuff were you using? Like, because that sounds like a pretty tricky sort of.
Yeah. So I think most of the time I was on a 1/20th. When there was no wind or nothing, I was going down lighter than that, 1/40th. I was even running an Aberdeen on one stage. So I also had a 1/12th on.
Yeah.
If I saw an area where there was no salmon, and I could get a good punch out, then I'd use the 1/12th to get the distance and have it in the water for a little bit longer, being able to bring it back and just slow and subtle. But that zone there goes from 3 metres to 500 mil.
That's right.
So there's a lot of different depths there. So you kind of had to cover all bases. I generally have 5 or 6 rods, all with that prawn imitation on, with all different weights and colours, or different, one that floats, one that sinks. And that's the difference with the duros and smash baits compared to the hurricanes. The duros and smash baits will sink by themselves.
That's right. That's right. Which means you're Aberdeen.
And you can use them without any weight. You can just put a hook in them and they'll still slowly sink. They're perfect. Honestly, they're a better lure. It's just they break apart.
Yeah.
So you spend a bit of time messing about with them, but smash baits were the key. Smash baits were, and still are to this day, the best shape, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. And all that kind of experimentation on the day, was there a colour that shone through?
The beer bottle Duro colour.
Yeah, okay.
Was probably the standout. In the smash bait, there's only one. I think it's colour 12.
Yeah.
And then in the hurricanes, predominantly machete.
Machete, okay.
I think that UV made a bit of difference. But then I was also using cleaver, and I think I had look, I've got a box of them, and I've just opened them all apart, and I just sort of grabbed whichever colour I'm sort of looking at the time. Sometimes, I don't think the colour matters that much, mate, to be brutally honest. I really do.
Yeah.
More about the presentation of the lure, getting it in the fish's face. And those fish, it would come over and you could see them on the sounder. Like, I can watch my lure drop on the surface, and then I could watch the fish come over to it ever so slowly and then sit there and stare at it. And sometimes it'd take, 3 to 4 minutes and I wouldn't twitch at all.
Yeah, right.
And you'd just get a clunk. Now, I don't know if it's because the wind was behind moving the line, or tide, or I don't know what's actually going on the bottom there, but I couldn't move it. I'd have to wait for the tick. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was. I had the non-boaters and my observer Mark on the last day. I think they were sort of shocked with how patient you had to be with it. Like, I'm in one spot with the current moving past me, the wind moving behind me, and I'm just power poled down and sitting in the one spot for like 25 minutes for maybe 2 bites.
Yeah, wow.
And in that time, probably 30 or 40 bloody salmon and EPs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it wasn't easy fishing on the mind.
No. All right. Well, in terms of the day, just walk us through, like, did you get them early? Did you get them late? Did you drop any?
Yeah, on day one, I didn't drop any fish. I probably put about 7 or 8 in the boat.
Yeah.
And they were all pretty good. Well, weren't pretty good. They're not as good as the fish that Morgo was catching up there. He was catching average kilo-sized fish.
Mm.
I think I might have had one fish in there that was 36 fork. All the rest of them were sort of just decent. So, yeah, I just sort of, like I say, it was all day. I wasn't, but you weren't just bang, 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 there's your brim. It was like
Yeah.
1 an hour sort of thing, or 2 an hour sort of thing, give or take. But, yeah, it was slow, mate. It was slow. And there was a couple of boats that sort of started out there in the morning. They dissipated pretty quick. No one was catching too much. You might have got 1 or 2. And then as the afternoon sort of come on, boats from up the river were slowly starting to come back to handing key tags back in and whatnot with an hour to go. So they were fishing around there. And I sort of was catching a couple in the afternoon. So a few people had sort of seen the fish getting caught. So they pulled up. And by that arvo, there was probably about, I'd say, 10 or 12 boats all piled around me.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any of them catch a brim. And I'm sitting there going, that's excellent. You're seeing people catching salmon and everyone's catching salmon and that sort of stuff. And I don't think I saw really anyone catch a brim. So I thought to myself, well, that's really good because I know that they're there. I know that they're hard to catch. When it's tough like that, I always feel confident. So that's
Yeah.
always going to be my game plan for day 2.
Yeah.
Day 3, sorry.
Day 3.
Apart from going down the front, I wanted to go down. There was a spot down the front where I got like a 40 forker on pre-fish day. And I got one that was like a 36 or a 35 or something on day 1 further down towards the mouth.
Yeah, right.
That was my first spot on day 3.
Okay.
Down there quick to see if they were down there, and she's a ghost town. I got one fish. It was like a 300 or 400 gram or something like that. And yeah, it was a ghost town down there. All I could see was salmon. I couldn't pick them out. Got out of there.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, look, on day 1, you ended up with, what do we say, just over 4 kilos at 4.43 or well over 4 kilos.
Yep.
Must have had you in maybe second or third?
Second spot I was,
Second.
yeah.
Yep.
With more go hot on my tail.
Yeah, chasing you down, mate.
Yeah, that's the bloke you don't want on your tail, mate. You don't want him just in front of you. You don't want him just behind you.
Fair enough. Well, all right. So you had to make the trip back to Bemm River. How was that in terms of resetting your game plan and obviously a different system?
Yeah, look, it was, again, I had no expectations for there either. A long time between drinks for fishing Bemm. I just went, mate, it was a similar sort of thing. Hedge your bets. The mouth of the river was always somewhere that's held decent fish early in the morning. So that's where I was going. And I pulled up there and I think I got like a 33, a 31 and a 35 fork all within probably the first half hour.
Wow. Good start.
That was a great start. And I was like, well, that's my 35. That's my key fish. I've got my kicker.
Yeah.
So now I go searching, and by that stage the sort of sun had come up so I could see the bottom because when I drove over to it, I couldn't remember how deep it was. My maps are only so good for depth like that when it's shallow anyway.
Mm.
And I couldn't see any of the weed edges, couldn't see crap because the sun wasn't up yet. So I waited till the sun sort of got up, and then I went, all right, I'm going to go and take the punt now, and went over towards the mouth a little bit more, or the mouth of the lake where the goalposts are. Spot over there, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I think you and I had spoken about it previously.
Oh, Mahogany's,
old John O'Ten's key zone. I'd always sort of fished over there along that edge bank, but right up against the edge, and I couldn't boat in there. It was way too shallow.
Yeah, you didn't find any of John Chen's rods. He left a quiver down there.
Did he? No, I didn't. But it was a funny story over there, though. I went over and I started fishing along one sort of section and come up to a channel marker and got a fish just behind the channel marker. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go along this bank. It looks really good. And as I'm just started to go along it, there's a bloke, and it looked like a young bloke and his dad coming over with the tinny betos, and cruising straight into the bank, flying over, and no, they're gonna boil this up on me. So I sort of flagged them down, drove over to them, and I can hear the young bloke go, "Oh, it looks like this bloke's fishing at Dad." So I drove over to him and I said, "You're not going to read about it, boys. We're fishing a comp. I'm kind of going all right, and I want to try and fish this bank." And he goes, "Yeah, we found some good ones here yesterday." I said, "Well, how about I give you a handful of plastics and you leave it to me for a couple of hours? Would you do that?" "Oh, yeah, no drama." So I give him a couple of plastics of the bait junkies, and probably
Yeah.
give him about $100 worth of plastics, to be honest. I'm
Yeah,
just going, "Here,
nice.
take."
Yeah, that's it.
And they nicked off. And I turned around and went straight back into the bank, and 2 or 3 casts later, I caught a 35 forker.
Nice.
2 35 forkers in the bag. I turned around, and Ben, that was with me, my non-boater, he goes, that was karma instantly
Yeah, yeah.
delivered, He goes, "I couldn't believe that. That's awesome." That was a good little run. That set the tail for the day. By that stage, I'm sitting there, and I think I had 231. No, I had a 31, 233s, and 235s.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm like, "That's not a bad bag for you. That's pretty good. I'm stoked with that." Getting back and leading on day 2, I was rung my wife, Danny, and she goes, "You're leading." "Oh, no, yeah, I'll probably get bumped off." She goes, "Well, it's a good spot to be on day 2. By the time I got home and washed up the boat, I was still leading. I was like, "Well, okay, job done there. That bloody worked."
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But just to back on Bem, what were you throwing? Were you in plastics or your hard bodies or what you used?
That was all hurricanes, mate.
Really? All sprats?
All Sprats, yeah.
So the curly tail one or the fork tail?
They're forktail, yeah.
Yeah, so the 75.
All day, mate. And between a 1/12th to a 1/20th to a 1/40th, the new covert jig-heads, yeah, just picking the depth and switching between rods and lures to pick that depth. That was me. But I've got to be honest, by the time I'd sort of put that bag together pretty early, I was like, well, I just want the time to finish now.
Yeah, right, I'm done.
So I didn't really. There was a couple other spots, so I thought about taking the risk and go and have a look, but it's pretty shallow in there. I thought, if I run dry, I'm going to kick myself. So
Yeah,
ditch it and get back there pretty quick.
100%.
I was back there, one of the first boats back, and Morgo had just got back there. And I'm like, "Where's the key tag, mate? Where's the key tag board? Where's the key tag board?" He's going, all right, you're back. I just wanted my key tag safe on the board, So,
Yeah, job done.
yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. So, look, you weighed in just over 4 kilos, which had you up into first place by just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. What's your thoughts on Marlo? Like, I assume you're going back to do the same thing.
Yeah, so there was going back to Marlo, it was pretty well try and find a kicker fish first. So I raced straight down the front to a spot where Mario and I had found good fish, both on pre-fish and on the comp day. And I spoke to Mario. I said, "Mate, I'm going down that front spot again." Obviously leading away boat number 1, but Mario being a local, I felt like I owed it to him just to let him know I was going down that way. And he goes, "Yeah, mate, there's good fish down there. I'm coming too. I'll be down there. You'll see me there." And I was like, "Sweet. I'll tuck in against the bank and just power pole down. You can drift it." He was doing sort of drifts down along it. So I said, "Yeah, we'll do it as we did it on day 1. Same deal." Yeah, no drama. So we got down there, and like I say, it was a bit of a ghost town.
Yeah, right.
Got one fish early, but that was it. I was like, well, I spent a fair bit of time there just grinding it out a bit too, and got a couple of EPs. A couple of EPs had moved into areas where I thought there would be bream.
Yeah.
And then there was just salmon. So I couldn't see fish underneath them. And I sort of hung out there for a bit and then ditched it. I sort of went back up. And as I went back up, I fished up where I sort of started, and that was kind of no good. Hadn't turned on. It was no tide. And then I sort of hung around there a little bit, and then the tide did start to move. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe I should race back down the front where I'd started in the same zone as Mario. Now the tide's going. So I raced back down there again, and that really did nothing. but I had, I think I might have by that stage had 2 fish in the well.
Mhm.
And then I saw Morgo come down. He raced down as well. He come down along the front, and I thought, oh, okay, well, he mustn't be doing too crash shot. He wouldn't have left the zone where he was if it was doing all right. So he's come down to have a look, and then he sort of left from there, and I was like, oh, I'm done from here. I'm going to go back up and grind out in my zone now. And by the time I got back up there was no one there.
Yeah, right.
And I think everyone had sort of seen everybody there late in the day. I guess the talk had been that I had caught fish there during the day.
Mm.
But when we left in the morning, I didn't go there, and I left it for quite a while, and no one was there. Like, I think if I'd have gone straight there, more boats would have hung around there a little bit, seeing, obviously that's where the bag got caught on day one. You do get that, and I don't knock people for doing that. That is what it is, but I'd sort of give it a wide berth on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, managed to sort of get back there by like 10 o'clock. Then I started to catch good fish. As that tide started to go, it was going all right. So slowly started to pick them off, and then by the afternoon, my observer, Mark, had been watching the weights and all that sort of thing, and Morgo had jumped in front of me. I was like, righto, well, my fish that I'd put into the estimator, I probably was a little bit light on those, so I had a little bit of a buffer there in my mind.
Yeah.
Morgo was ahead of me by 35, 40 grams, or 45 grams, something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I had one fish in my bag that was 750 grams. Now, there was nothing actually in my bag that was 750 grams. And then I caught a good upgrade.
Yeah, right.
And this thing probably was a 1.2.
Yeah.
And I just reached over because Mark was uploading my fish into the estimator. And I just leaned over to him and I said, I reckon that fish is about 800 grams. What do you reckon? He goes, yeah, right. So we uploaded an 800 grammer towards the end of the day. So that was when you saw me jump from second to first, and I took that 15 grams back, and I was ahead by 35 grams.
Yeah, right.
And, yeah, that was a little bit of foxing. I'm not foxing against Morgo. That guy doesn't require – he does his own thing anyway. But I know there's other people watching these and there are people that will pay attention to that. You may end up with a little bit more company.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was fun.
Yeah. Of course it was fun.
I'm not going to lie. I was having a ball. I'm sitting there with Mark and we're joking about it. And then I got another good upgrade and another good upgrade. I'm like, this is epic, like really, really good day. So, and Mark was great company on the boat with me. We were just sort of, I'd drawn him as a non-boater up at Clarence when my boat had blown itself to pieces. So I said to him, well, at least this time you get a nice comfy seat to sit down in all day and do nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So, but yeah, it was, and I thanked him as well. It was a credit to him. We just had a good day on the boat. You always fish good when you got good company. I think having him on the boat relaxed me. He's a very calm guy, and I can get a bit highly strung sometimes when I'm within a shot and can overthink things, can underthink things, and he was just smooth, calm, and collect. And I think that I fed off that during the day. So
yeah,
I was appreciative of that company. So yeah, so then I guess we got to, I think it would have been 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there looking at the clock. Oh, please just hurry up.
Hurry up. Yeah.
I knew Morgo's a better man than me. He wouldn't bullshit about his weights. He's always spot on with his weights. So if he said it was 4.8, it was going to be close to 4.8. So
yeah, as close as he could get it.
Yeah, he's good like that. He's I've got to say a better man than I am. But yeah, I knew I had my buffer there. So I was like, well, now it could just come down to someone that's left the field. So Mario, he's a ex-footy player. He could play the game, so he might come back with something dominating, or Prikey or someone like that. So there was never a stage where I'm sitting there going, yeah, 100%, I've got this. It was not like that. It was just I had a bit of confidence there, but I previously had confidence where it's been shattered.
Yeah, which is
Nothing hurts more than confidence getting shattered.
that's right. That's right. I mean, like I said in the beginning here, like you got your 15 fish, and there was only one other competitor, I think, that got that.
Yep.
What do you think set you apart in this instance in terms of catching your limits and obviously getting better fish? Do you think there's anything there?
No, mate. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just experience, right? Like, Crikey's been at it for a long time now too. I guess it's not my first rodeo there now. I think I've cut my teeth and I've learnt by failure.
Mm.
And I've luckily had enough memory space to be able to keep that in and not and learn from my mistakes previously. I think that's probably about the only difference. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, previously when I'd sucked there, I fished where Morgo fished this time up in that lake, and I said to myself, "I'm not going back there."
Yeah, yeah, nothing in there.
That's not me. So I always like the more current run zones. I think maybe it had to do with just following the actual fish, not the brim, just the amount of fish. If you
Yeah,
find schools of those, the fish will all hang together. There's a reason that those salmon were there. The amount of people that say, "Oh, I've never seen that amount of salmon. I've never seen salmon this far up. Normally they're just down the front." Now, I
mm,
don't know. I'm no marine biologist or whatever, but the salmon are there for a reason. The brim spawn is on. You get your algae come down the river, which is partly what the brim will feed on during spawn to keep, a bit of sustenance going on while they're spawning. And I wouldn't have been shocked at all if the salmon were there eating, sipping on the brim spawn, like
yeah,
these fish were milking so hard.
yeah, right.
They were milking so hard. So whether or not that's what was keeping them around, but they were all there on fire. And it was not much bait. I was not seeing much bait. Everything was getting eaten.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for me, it was just, hold into those zones where there's fish and just bide your time, be patient and try and work it out. The
yeah,
active target is definitely a key for that. Like, you wouldn't waste your time there if you couldn't see it.
yeah.
So
If you didn't know they were
I
there.
definitely had a benefit there. There's no two ways about that. Yeah. If there was someone there that didn't have it,
Were you in perspective or
both.
forward? Both.
Both.
Oh, you got two transducers?
I do. I
Yeah,
do. Yeah, I've got forward on the top sounder and it's a perspective mode. It's called Scout mode.
yeah,
Lawrence,
yes,
but on the bottom sounder, and I run 216s. So if someone's to sit there and go, "Well, you had an advantage over the rest of the field," you're damn right I did.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. Yeah, I think, well,
Bloody oath.
I mean, this came up in social media the other day too, and I'm like, they said, "Oh, it's not fair," and I go, "Well, no, it is fair because you can go and buy it.
100%, mate.
Like everyone, it's available. I know money's an issue, but it is available to everyone."
Mate, it's no different though. If the fish are right up river in the Hawkesbury, who's got the fastest boat to get there first? Is it different? You're not going to
That's
ban.
right.
You're not going to ban someone having the biggest, baddest engine there compared to someone's got a 50. They're still
That's
going to
right.
get there. They're still going to
That's
get
right.
there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nah, what a load of crap. I hear that and I think, well, that's either a little bit of, I don't know that it's jealousy, but it's you either do or you don't. But the accessibility's there. It's not like it's that different in price now. Like, you can get your sounder. Yeah, I mean, Lawrence have got a product now with a built-in
The Eagle.
active
Yeah.
target, mate, and they're about 1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
Going to do exactly the same thing as what I was doing. It's not quite as good, but you can still use it, you can still do it, and you can still work it out.
You still work it out. I think that's key. And what you said about the fast boats, I mean, I did an interview on Marlo a couple of years ago where I think it was Sean Clancy. They got a little tinny. They got the cheapest boat in the field.
Mm-hmm.
They did deck it up with some nice electronics, but they got the cheapest boat in the field and went so they could get into Lake Coringal.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's no different. But mate, if you're not going into a tournament and trying to give yourself every benefit over your competitor, then what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, and if there's a new product that's out, I want it to be a secret until I've done really, really well with it. Like, like that's the deal, right? Like,
Yeah.
I do firmly believe at the moment, Lawrence has got Garmin at the moment with what we can set up on our boats for the better price, the better fishing, better ability to fish in shallow water. I think it's much better in shallow water,
Mm.
and fine tuning it. I think the proof's in the pudding at the moment with how Healy's gone with his setup on his boat all year, and obviously how I was able to use mine to the benefit for the grand
100%.
final. So yeah, I think the proof's there. The Ransky is easier to sell to people as well in the respective usability. I get someone bump into it at the boat ramp. Oh, what can I use? I can actually say to them, yep, use it, go and buy it from the shop, turn it on, run it. And I don't have to teach them how to use it. You don't have to, it's just plug and play. And I know that that's the case. That's a really easy thing to explain and share with people, knowing that I haven't given them a bum steer that they're going to have to go and do a TAFE course to learn how to use it.
Exactly. Mate, one more question in regards to the fishing. For some of the newer competitors in the circuit and scene, you got any advice? So you've fished a tough tournament, done very well. Got anything you could share with some of the newer people on the scene in terms of going well?
I mean, obviously, I've been asked this before. Nothing beats time on the water, but ask the questions. Like you sort of got to in the tournaments as well. You want to learn as much as you can learn, but you don't want to be following people. You want to ask the questions, see what you can learn, but you don't want to just be going and copying them side on. You don't learn that way. There's nothing harder. This is one point that I've learned. Well, not learnt. I heard Carl Jochimson say it. There's nothing harder to catch on the water than someone else's fish. There's
Yeah,
nothing harder to do that. So don't waste your time with that. Take in the techniques that you feel you've learnt from somebody and go and do it yourself in your own zones. Don't go and try and, like, even, you see it on the live streams or you see it on the videos and things like that. Going to the exact spot and going, I know that tree, I know that boat. It doesn't work that way. These
mm,
move that much. Just because you've seen me fish there on X day on a video 2 or 3 years ago doesn't mean that they're there that weekend. You go and work that out yourself. Take the products, take the insight that I've sort of tried to share or what Morgo shares or whoever, and just try and use that for yourself. You'll learn more than trying to just go and copy someone straight up. I firmly do believe that, but yeah, asking the questions is definitely good. I think these days the kids and newcomers have definitely got an easier array of social media, YouTube's things to learn and watch and listen to try and work things out. So I don't know that I really need to tell them anything.
yeah,
The ability's there, but I will say, if you want the respect from other anglers fishing in tournaments and getting things shared with you and learning in a great way, you can lose a lot of respect really quick by just copying people or just being that tag along or just the guy that's, oh, here he is again, follow me around. Like you're not going to get the share and the respect and the support that you can get from someone if they see you just doing it the right way. There's no easy way. The long road is always the better road.
yeah, yeah. Very, very good, mate. I did see you mention a new product on the market.
Yeah, ShyneAway. Yeah. I was excited when I heard about that. I thought that's a great little, if that works right. I was immediately nervous that it would damage my line.
Yep, fair comment.
And the Vic Open was my tester for that. Didn't break line due to it. I was worried about it being stuck on my fingers and rubbing it in my eyes or something like that. Wasn't an issue. I do apply it a little bit differently to how I've seen people rubbing it between their fingers. I don't do it like that. I just open the cap up, put the line on the thing, and then just run it up
Just
the
run it through.
line. Yeah, just hold your thumb on it. So
Yep.
then I'm not getting it all over my fingers. That was how I've been applying it and just sort of doing it twice so you're getting both sides of the line. But I don't know whether it helped. That's what I said to Morgo. I said, well, I used it. I'm honest, like that. We won. I don't know. It didn't hurt me, put it that way.
So let's put it this way: you've had 2 events with this. You've won one.
Yeah, I'm 50-50.
Not horrible.
Won one, and I bagged out 6 kilos, which I've never done in the Big Open. So that's, I actually had some really good fishing in that Big Open. I had a couple of cracking days. So it didn't hurt me, mate. It didn't hurt me. And I think, is it Armando?
Yeah, Armando. Yeah,
I had him as a non-boater in Malakuta. And I didn't even know that he was doing this. So I had no idea. And I saw the product come up and I was like, I want to get my hands on some of that. Spoke to a couple of people, and then Michael in WA sent me a thing, this is the guy that's doing it. I looked and I go, I know that guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think Callum had said, I'll send you some over as well. And then sort of reached out to Armando. I said, you making this stuff? He goes, yeah, do you want some? I'll send you some. So I didn't pay for it. It was, he did send me some as a tester to see what it was like, but I'll be buying it. So
100%.
great looking. I was surprised by that when I saw it pop up, and I thought that's a great idea. I've always said that the gloss finish on leader is a problem. I do not like it, and that's why I use J-Thread Finesse. I don't use the leader materials because they're all gloss.
Okay.
The Finesse is a more matte line, and I think that is beneficial. I feel like I can go. The J-Thread Finesse is a thicker line per the pound breakage compared to like the other lines. They're actually thinner, but I feel like I get better turnaround with better fish with that little bit of matte finish on the line. So, is it something? I don't know, but it's a little bit of my confidence, I guess. But
100%. Well, look, last thing before we move off the fishing, mate, you did I want to say bang on about a rod that you really like.
I shouldn't have said a bloody word, because then I've come back from that comp and I was like, a few people said, yeah, you might be able to get him. And now you definitely can't get them.
That's it. They're all gone.
I actually ordered a couple of the current iteration of the Gecko just to see if there's anything there similar. And the old 7'3", it always has been. I think I had 7 or 8 of them at one stage, and they've just slowly broken over the years. And such a light rod, I don't think I've ever held in the hand. I used to put them on scales. And even the new one that I've purchased, they're 50 grams. Like, they weigh 50 grams. Like, I don't think they're going to be even as sensitive. I think for some reason I had 47 grams in my mind. I think that's what the old Gecko that I have weighs.
Yeah, right. That's so light.
Oh, mate, it's insane. And how they got the strength. Like, they got mega top on them, so you couldn't break the tips on them.
Yeah, right.
To be able to impart that into a rod, that those things don't snap at the tip. The ones that I've had break have all broken like halfway down the butt or halfway down the rod.
Oh, yeah,
sort of thing. And it's me being a dickhead trying to flick it off snags or something like that. But yeah, nothing will ever come as close to those rods for sensitivity. I don't think you'll ever find anything as sensitive as them. I haven't. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'd love something.
Yeah, well, I'm sure someone will look into it for you, mate.
Yeah, shove something in my hand that's more sensitive than that and lighter than that and got as much strength as that, and I'll be happy to give it a go to use it. We will produce something that will compete with that rod properly. We've tried a couple of times with the Daiwa range, and I believe you're always striving for better, but I believe we've come up short each time with that. It's taken a long time to get, for me personally. I know that I know Hickson and Tommy, no one liked the skeleton grip. It's like Hickson would go, if it's got a skeleton grip, I will not use it. So getting the SKs back in, I was like, well, we're getting there. We're getting there, and there's a 7.3 in the SKs that I quite like too.
Yeah, right.
But it's a little bit light, not quite as sensitive. It's not. I use that for, I throw JoJo's, what do you call him? His pygmy mussel.
His micro pygmy mussel,
yeah. That goes with that, but I'm sure we'll get there. We'll get something. I'm sure after this, I've made enough noise now. If the boys aren't listening, there's something wrong.
Somebody, I was going to say, somebody be asking. And probably there is one thing we should cover is lines or particularly leaders.
Yeah.
What were you running?
I was running 3-pound J-Thread Finesse
Okay.
and probably 3 rod lengths.
Yeah,
Quite a
wow.
long length of leader, and I generally always do. I don't like having little bits of leader. I tie my knots so that if I'm going to break it off, it breaks off at the hooks,
Yeah.
and you can sort of keep going all day without your line breaking. Every time I was snapping those salmon off, I knew I was going to snap at the hook,
Yeah.
and I could run that leader for a long time. Main line, I was running the new 12 carrier Saltiga Sensi. Is it Sensi?
Yeah, I don't know.
The new sensor Saltiga. That's great. That's phenomenal. In the green, the chartreuse, or even I think I've got the grey with marker lines in it, orange marker lines. That's, great line. That's as good as I've ever used out of the Daiwa range when it comes to mainline, 0.6 in diameter. I think it might be 12 pound or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 pound, but I go off diameter of line. I don't really pay too much attention to breaking strains.
Sure.
When you're getting those 12 carriers and the diameter's right and the castability is good because of the material it's made out of, and it's going to cut my hands when I try to break it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
worry about what pound it actually says, to be honest. Probably should. I guess as a sponsored angler, I should know more about the data, but there's only so much time you got to pay attention.
That's right.
And it's more about paying attention to what's going on in the water for me. So
I was going to say, if you got 3-pound tide at the end of it, it doesn't really matter if it's 8 or 12 or 27.
yeah,
So.
that's right. That's right. And it's good. Like if you do get a little bit of a wind foul up or something like that, it pulls out really easy out of that 12 carrier. It doesn't fluff up or any of that sort of stuff. So
That's
really good line. It's expensive, but at the same time, you get 200-metre spools of it now. So you can pretty much spool up 2 shallow spools with a little bit of backing on them. I put a bit of Teflon, being the plumber I am, I put a bit of
Yeah,
Teflon
right.
on the spools to stop them, especially if it gets cold. They'll spin on the spools. You put a bit of Teflon backing in there, and your 100 metres is probably about the pretty good on a. Nothing's going to spool 100 metres off you.
Yeah.
Don't matter
Yeah.
what you're catching. They're not going to spool 100 metres off you.
Fair.
Yeah, that's good like that. And then reels, Arity, Certates, they're my 2 main reels that I have on the boat. I think I might have a couple of Luviuses, but the Arity seems to me to be my pick for reels at the moment. And in the 2500 shallow spool.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from that, man, it's any jig-head that I had was all the Daiwa, either coverts or the bait Junkie jig-head.
Yeah.
Nothing comes close to those BKK hooks. Like, you're just not blunting them. It doesn't matter how many hits you get on them, they just stay sharp. So, yeah, that's the crux of it, mate. That's about it.
Very nice. All right. Let's get into the final stages. Although a lot of people know, tell us what you got to take home for the win, mate.
So I got to take a 2025 model Alloy Craft Bass Pro Series 530, coupled with a Mercury 150 Pro XS Racing outboard, full Garmin kit, twin 12s, live scope, Garmin Force electric motor, Green Marine lithium battery pack, 24 volt at the front for the electric motor, and that's a 100 amp hour 24 volt at the front, and a Green Marine lithium cranking battery for all the electronics, chargers, the whole kit on a Redco trailer. So on paper, a $95,000 package, which is
Wow.
yeah,
Very, very sweet.
I was saying to you before, you put it in perspective, and the guys that won Bathurst only took 50K home, and we've managed to put together a package in the ABT that's close to 100 grand for a prize. Now that's saying something, mate.
It really really is.
It's great to see the sponsors doing what they do for Morgo and for us for the ABT, and I'm extremely fortunate to have taken the biggest prize in brim fishing history. I'm bloody stoked, and trust me, it doesn't go. I realise what it is. I really do.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm just chuffed.
As you should be. As you should be. And look, you would have taken a couple other things home too, mate.
I did. I took home the Mercury Cup this year.
Yep.
Took home a Joey Urquhart trophy, and yeah, had a van full of trophies on the way home, and the big the plaque, the ABT Grand Final plaque, and get to put my name on it twice there, and say good day to the Kaimi stamp on there. We put a ode to for Kaimi on the back of it when I had it last time, so got to have a nice moment there with, and we got it back again, mate. So yeah, it's good.
Nice. All right, mate. Last thing is, who do you want to give a shout out to?
Danny, my wife, as always. I was asked today, what sort of celebrations did you do after it? It wasn't crazy, but the best celebration was walking back up the road from Marlo pub, and Danny and Alvy were there, and they were in the park, and Alvy screamed out, "There's my dad, he just won a boat."
Very good.
Yeah, that was probably my favourite bit of the entire weekend, was Alvy running around, and I think Morgo had done a mock-up with, now I can't remember who it was, one of the gentlemen saying, if you were to win this boat right now, how would it be, and Alvy pipes up and goes, no, my dad's going to win that boat,
So good.
He was convinced, mate. He was certain that was Dad's boat. No one else goes near Dad's boat. So that was great, mate. Just that whole. We got out there in the park in the afternoon. I give them both a big hug and said, "How's that, eh? What are the odds?" And that was my moment. That was the one that I took. That was my most memorable bit of the whole thing. Was, the three of us just having a high five moment where, holy shit, that really did just happen.
How good is that?
Yeah, they're my little pit crew, mate. They're I wouldn't do it any other way than having them there and enjoying it, and it was a special moment.
Very good, very good, mate. Is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to before we close down?
Yeah, really quick. Obviously, Lawrence and Daiwa, two of the best in their own class, and Power Pole for obviously continuing to support me. My Power Pole move has been absolutely bashed to bits, and it's still kicking along great. I'm probably going to get another one because I don't know that any motor could outlive what I've done to that motor this year. I hasn't failed, but I don't give things a chance to fail. I generally replace them before they do, and I'll keep it as a spare. But, mate, it's gone through everything, hell and back. I don't hold back with it. I smash it into everything, and I kind of want to learn the limitations of these things as well. So if I am going to share it with somebody, I want to be able to know that I know exactly what it can do. So that's been a bloody great thing. And my power poles the entire weekend got heavily, heavily used. They were up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down the entire time. And I couldn't have fished those banks and flats without the power poles. You can't sit there on your electric and use your live and use the current to do what I was doing with it. You couldn't do that just with an electric motor on spot lock. It was probably too shallow in a lot of scenarios. So the power poles have definitely been a great thing for me, and I love the support from those guys. But yeah, apart from that, Rise Above Plumbing for for giving us the time off. And we do use Rise Above Plumbing with a bit of advertising in the events and all that sort of stuff, which it's worked really, really well for me. Got quite a lot of jobs from having the sign on the boat, having the sign on the van, having the sign at the events, and then, someone will move into the local area and see my signs there and then ring me and, are you the bloke that fishes as well? It starts the conversation, and I've gotten great amounts of work out of it. So,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's really worked well for us. I'm really proud of that. It's good to be able to tie everything together. So it works. So it's a good thing to be able to use that ability of working for yourself and get something back from it too.
Yeah. Very, very good, mate. All right. Well, mate, epic win, epic season, 2-time winner. Mate, congratulations and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks very much, mate. Hopefully the guys learn something from it and we'll reach out and, don't be strangers. Let me know if you need a hand with something or you've got a question about it, just shout out. And I'd rather help somebody with it and bring more people into the sport, because I think, as we've seen, $100,000 prize, we're only going upwards. So who knows what will happen in the future, and more people involved is better for all of us. So,
Absolutely. All right, mate. I'll see you on the water.
cheers, mate.
Okay, guys. So that's it for 2025 for the ABT. It has been an absolutely cracking year. It's been some great stories and a lot of learning. Mark Crompton taking away, I'm not sure if it's the biggest prize ever. It probably is. Near on $100,000 worth of boat. Second time winner. I think it's very exciting. You can't get better than that. I want to thank all the guests throughout the year that have jumped on and given their time, shared their stories, and just had a chat. Like it's really, there's no show without the anglers, and they've all been really, really good. It's been a great year. Special thanks to Steve Morgan. He's been a huge supporter of the show since the beginning, in more ways than I can add up. I want to thank him. I appreciate what he does for the industry. I appreciate what he's done for me personally. And yeah, it's great. I'm pretty happy to call him a friend. And also to Nicole. Anytime I need anything from Nicole, you send it, you shoot out, she's straight back with whatever you need. If you've been to an event, she is running these things, obviously with Steve, but often on her own, putting it all together, which does a phenomenal job. Yeah, we appreciate it. So with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed the 2025 ABT series. If you've got any comments, any questions, any suggestions, reach out to me, let me know. And look, yeah, thanks for everyone's support. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a great 2026 season for the ABT. And on that note, for anyone that's listening and wants to join in, there's two avenues you can go in with as a boater, or if you haven't got a boat, you can go in as a non-boater. And it's a great way to sort of dip your toe as a non-boater in the competition format. As you'll hear from the interviews, the guys learn so much. They typically have a great time. Yeah, it's a really good thing. All right, that's it from me. Thanks again, and I'll be back next week with more on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.